What's going on YouTube? Thanks for tuning in to the channel. Welcome to Also Simplify, where I simplify life for you. Because if it ain't simple, it's a little stupid. Let me jump into this one about the F.A.D system: faith, action, discipline, the system to achieve any goal. Now I'm going to summarize it right in the beginning. I'll break it down a little further, and then I'll go into the personal application of my life, just because that's really where all these videos are really coming from. But summarize it in the beginning. Anybody that wants to just like watch 1-2 minutes and jump off, let me jump into it. So faith, idea of having a vision and believing in that vision is going to happen. That is the cornerstone to achieving any goal. Obviously, you need to have a visualization of the goal, an idea of what you want to achieve, and really think about it. Then also have the faith that that is in fact going to happen. Now, when you have the vision, you believe it's going to happen, you're taking action in congruence with that. So in line with whatever that vision is, whatever that person would do, you're taking those actions to then achieve that. Now, taking action in the beginning when it's something new, there is a level of motivation that can kind of help you through it. Now, the next part is the discipline to continue doing it as it becomes something a little bit more either overwhelming, boring, or even when it becomes overwhelming, boring, or you're fatigued and tired of doing the actions that are not at this point ingrained in your lifestyle. And discipline is the ability to do those things when you should do them, when you should do, doing what you should do, and when you should do them, whether you feel like it or not. That's my personal definition of discipline. I mean, I didn't coin it, I've heard it from other people, but that's what we're using for today. When you have that discipline and you can ingrain it, then you will be able to achieve that goal. It's basically that simple. Now I can go in deeper into what all of these things mean. So first, faith. The definition we'll use here today is the ability to believe in things that are not seen, or a lot of people say seeing is believing, but believing is seeing. And I'm going to break down those thoughts. These are quotes I've heard from other people. I think Bob Proctor and Robert Edward, look them up. I think those are the people I heard those quotes from. But really just the idea of things that you don't have full evidence for that are actually happening, you believe that they can happen. You know, if somebody said, you know, we can fly, put some people in an airplane and fly it across the globe, that idea is pretty unbelievable in the 1800s. There's no thought process on how that can happen, but you can believe that something like that can happen. Now, when you have that belief, what it's going to do is develop the mindset to see opportunities and avenues to make that vision happen. So when you start to, one, create the vision, have the ideal that you have, and really visualize the intricacies of what that ideal is going to look like and feel like, and then truly believe it can happen. To be honest, that's the whole system. But the next two are what comes, because I'm going to get into what is really believing. But first, just getting the grasp of the idea of having a concept or vision, having it very mapped out, and even if it is something you have no idea how you would achieve that now, you believe that there is a way and you are going to figure out a way. And what that will do is create the mindset to see the opportunities where that can happen, as well as adjust when things that are unexpected and may be, setbacks. You'll have the belief that you'll get through it and adjust to make your way through it. So that is really what faith does, is it creates that mindset. Now the believing part, what is believing? To me, believing is when you can do the next two things, the action and the discipline, without consciously having to do it. Like, I believe that, walking out of my house smelling good, like I showered and brushed my teeth, is important. Nobody has to tell me that. It's like something I will feel bad if I don't do, even if I'm just alone. Like, I don't want to just be in my own filth for days and days and days and days. Now, that is just because I believe in it. It's a kind of a silly example, but it's something that I don't have to think about. Working out's a better example, probably for me. Like, I actually have to go work out or I will feel bad, because it's something I just believe is part of my life. It's just my lifestyle. It's not something I have to think, I want to get into shape. I just want to do that. It's something that I don't have to really work at. That's how you know you really believe it. Now, when you start thinking about goals that are going to stretch you, that's where it becomes difficult, because how do you really believe that's going to happen when you have no evidence for it, and currently your actions are not that? And that's what I'm going to get into in a second with the action piece. So the second part on the action piece is really doing the things that the person you envision would do. So when you get this vision that you believe is going to happen, every day, any off time, and this is really what I believe you need to do, is like all your time, because if it's really this important to you, all of your time will at least be consumed with thinking about it, imagining how it would happen, and then really looking down, what would this guy do or gal do if you're a woman? What would they do in all situations? Who would they be associated with? What types of people they'll be associated with? Now, these things are also going to lead to, maybe there's people around you that don't need to be around you. Maybe you're doing things today that you shouldn't be doing. Maybe there's things you should be doing that you're not currently doing. Maybe there's people you should be hanging out with that you are currently not. I will definitely say the first two, I really believe, at least in the beginning, are the most important. There's probably people that you shouldn't be around, and there's probably things you should not be doing that you currently know are not leading you towards the direction you need to go. And there's people around you that either are holding you back consciously, or they just don't get it. Either way, they can't really be on the team. And like some people like to say, everybody can't go. And it's like taking those actions in line. If you have to separate yourself, which in most cases, if you're doing anything important, you are going to have to separate yourself to develop the skills to be noticed by the people that you would need to associate yourself with later. That's why I say in the beginning, it would much be focused more upon removing and just doing the things, like instead of trying to eat clean, stop eating dirty kind of thing. When people talk about a diet, where people will try to go on this crazy regimen, when it's like, really, just stop drinking soda. You drink a lot of soda, and soda is not good. You cut that out. Drinking alcohol is not good for your sleep, but you're continuously drinking alcohol. Doing things like that. Like, it's usually things like that are going to be the first pieces of the action. Then the next piece, learning new skills. There's probably skills and routines that this person has that you would need to then adopt. So you're going to have to learn those skills. Now, that is part of the plan. If you would look at the lifestyle, if you look at any movie where somebody has this transformation, basically they start doing these trials and tribulations and becomes this new person. So you have to think, what would be the trials and tribulations? What would be the actions or learning times that be in that montage when they're getting better? And start make your montage as it leads up to. And just keep the first part, the faith, the belief, the thought, to continue things moving forward. Then after that, as you're learning new things in the beginning, a lot of times you will feel motivated because it's new and it's novel and it's fun. The hard part is when it's like, an example, I'll get deeper into things about me, but an example was like, I know the first time I did a scratch off, I won $30. And then I kept doing scratch offs, and then it's like I really found out what gambling's like. In the beginning, you might get some successes or have some experiences that like raise your dopamine, make you very excited because it's new, you're doing something, you feel like you're achieving it. But then when you really get into it, I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like when you're on the outside, you don't know what you don't know. So you generally think you're more competent than you are, but then you get a level of knowledge where you're actually aware of your incompetence. And that's where you're starting to feel the next three things: overwhelm, fatigue, and boredom. Basically, the things you're doing, the amount you have to learn, is going to start to feel overwhelming. The amount of time you put into doing new things that you're not accustomed to doing might start to fatigue you. And also the monotony of doing the same thing over and over and over again before you've achieved the full result can feel boring. And those are really going to be the things that are going to pull you back to your old way. And it is a daily thing. And the daily part comes to the next point. But the way that you can back those three things of overwhelm, fatigue, and boredom is what Stephen Pressfield calls turning pro, which I think is the best metaphor for this, which he talks about being an amateur and turning professional, and basically doing what the professional will do, or doing what the person that actually is doing the thing would do no matter what, which gets to discipline, which is the third point, which my definition of discipline is doing what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. So discipline is going to be that daily aspect. When you are in these situations, the amateur person is going to twist their ankle and say, I can't play in the game. But professionals play hurt. You know, when you watch any kind of sport, especially contact, I like MMA. I just finished my third MMA amateur fight recently. A lot of the times these people have, you know, nagging injuries that they got during training camp, but they couldn't cancel every event or they never fight. So it's like, you have to realize that people come to work tired if you're trying to reach a level in your career. You know, people, you know, lose sleep, or like get injuries when they work out if you're trying to do a physical endeavor. So whatever the goal really is, you have to understand that it's not all sunshine, peaches, and rainbows. And honestly, it kind of can be if you can learn to appreciate those things as being the thing that's leading you to the ultimate goal. But it's nothing is gonna, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody's looking for the quick ticket out. And that's really where the discipline comes in, because it's you doing it every day that's gonna really make the difference. And that is the hardest part about it. And once you do it for a certain period of time, you start to really believe, because you'll start to, one, see the fruits of your labor. One second. You'll start to really get the fruits of it. So once you start to do the discipline, you'll start to really see the fruits of your labor, and your lifestyle will resemble the original vision. Now, this will probably be a new time where you have to create a new goal to achieve, but at that point, you really do believe, because it is what it is. You believed, and that's how you saw it. So believing is seeing. Believing that this was possible, taking the actions, having the discipline to continue the actions. And in my honest feeling, I don't know if you can fail in that way. Now, I'm not a guru or a person that knows everything in the world, but I've noticed when I really do that towards any goal, one, it starts to happen quicker, and everything in my life has always kind of worked out, and I've always believed it was going to work out. Now, this is where I'm going to jump into why I'm thinking about this, since, as I mentioned, a lot of these are like messages to myself, that my faith was super tested in 2023. It's continuing to be tested. Now it's really the D part, the discipline on taking the actions, because I got a lot of things set up and put into place where the opportunity is there. But basically, at the end of 2022, I basically purchased a house. I purchased this house. When I purchased it, I found out it was infested with roaches. Then I had a friend that was like kind of like a construction iron worker that basically said he would help me renovate it. And I got like pest control come. So we like we're gonna redo the kitchen and the bathroom, and then basically fix everything up. And there was like a bathroom in the basement, and it was gonna be whatever price. And that price was gonna be definitely way like a tenth of the price if I paid somebody else to do it. I have no construction ability. To make a short story shorter, after the demolition part happened, so basically everything's broken down, there's no walls, there's no kitchen, there's no bathroom in the upstairs. Essentially, he kind of walked out on the job. We had a disagreement. I really still don't understand it to this day, but we had a disagreement. He walked out, basically took the down payment, which I'm not saying that that was more than the work that had already been done, but it still was just like, I offered the down payment, but I digress. So essentially, I was left with a rundown house, and then 3 months later, I got laid off from my job. And I'm living off credit cards for the next 8 months. So basically from March to October, I'm living off credit cards, trying to fix up my house. I don't have any real money coming in. And I basically super leveraged at this point, and still to this point. It's early 2024. It's not like I dug myself out of this hole. I ended up finding another job, which was like 2/3 of the base in terms of salary. There's opportunity in terms of commission. If I close a lot of deals, I can make a lot of money. And that's where I'll probably have a video about why sales is the career to get into. For any like young person looking to do something, you can make a lot of money without a lot of requirements if you're willing to put in the work. But essentially, laid off, I did get another job, but during that period while I was laid off, I did, as I've been practicing martial arts, I took my first 2 mixed martial arts fights in the amateurs, and I'll kind of flip the screen up. You can see all 3 of those pictures are actually pictures of like the matchups. Just this past weekend, just the bottom one, I just had that one. Perfect 3-0 right now. Really haven't taken even a strike. Basically dominated all 3 bouts. Finishes in all 3 bouts that have not gone the distance. So definitely performing there. But now there's an opportunity with that realm where I can use that to kind of, fuel in some sort of way. I'm not saying that I'm looking to be the UFC champion, but I do have an expertise in something else that, is something that could be shown onto YouTube, could be shown onto these things. But it's like this vision that I've had for so long of where I want to be. I have had a huge setback where it's like, dude, maybe the vision ain't working out. But I just believe, and I'm still, my back is still against the wall. But to use a fighting example, it's like I'm using my shell, I'm using my defense, I'm getting my shots in, and now I'm starting to feel like the tide is changing. And it's like all I have to do is stay disciplined to the actions. And this YouTube thing is one of those things that I've always known I should have stayed consistent with. I should be doing, but I'm not doing it, and it's because it can be overwhelming, fatiguing, and boring and monotonous when you don't have these ton of viewers. But how do you get them unless you take the actions and create the montage? And this is something that's one of those things for me. And then also with the career, I have to take the discipline and the actions to work myself back into, after getting laid off, into a new whole job, build a whole book of business, close a business, take the steps I know I have to take. And then with this MMA, if I do want to keep having this, undefeated 100% finish rate record, I need to keep training and doing the things I want to do. And if I want to marry all this in together to create my own thing, that is my ultimate vision. That is what I ultimately have faith in, just throwing it out there. It's like, I'm going to need to, one, believe it's going to happen. And if I really, truly believe it's going to happen, I'm going to take the actions. And I'm going to take the actions every day until it is part of my lifestyle. So that's really like where it came from for me. The reason I shot it in this gym is because I'm kind of still on the high. I really beat him down. I feel bad now because he's a young guy, but I had a very great dominant performance in my last fight. So, this gym is even another one. It's just into real life, a vision I had. I have, you can't see, but there's like a heavy bag right next to me, got dip bars, got, a desk, all this other stuff. It's like, everything is coming together. And if you are feeling like it's not, just really believe and keep taking the action day in and day out. And through my life, if I really just look at the last 10 years, and it's been almost 10 years since I've been posting on YouTube, you can see where I started to see where I'm at now. And I know that even now, my back is still against the wall, but I know I'm going to push through it. I know there's nothing that's going to happen that I'm not going to think through. And I just know I can always make the adjustments because I ultimately do have the faith in myself that I'm going to do what I need to do. So don't want to make it too long. I'm really going to commit to at least 1 video a week. I'm going to try to start doing lives with topics, and I might create like an MMA YouTube before my next fight to see if I can kind of get some sort of audience for that. But other than that, that's it for this one. If you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like it, dislike. I don't mind. Any feedback will do. And you know what it is. Until next time, peace.